Hey, shh. Calm down. The show is about to start. Reese on the radio. Turn it up. Turn it up low. Turn it up loud.
It's like a dream come true.
Turn on your radio. Reese is on the radio.
Yo, let's get it.
Due to the nature of this program, discretion does not exist. It's Reese on the radio. Right now on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Yeah! What's going on? Boy, are we loaded for bear today. Sit down. Strap in. Because we have got some stuff to discuss. It's Reese on the radio right here live on WTIC News Talk 1080. The voice is actually right at the perfect pitch. This is where I really want, like when you know, every like young boy always has like a perfect time. And right now I'm at that perfect pitch with my voice. It's very gravelly, you know, as I'm getting like post sick. It's really deep. It'll go back to its usual, you know, alto self. But right now, this is that voice that you don't want to get rid of. You know, it just feels right. The humming in the headphones is perfect. Sometimes I get a little weird on myself. Anyway, happy Friday to all of you. I hope you guys are ready for a very cold and very wintry, from what I gather, weekend. I'm going to sit in the house except for the time when I go out and pick up Roseanne and bring her home from the airport tomorrow. Be nice to be in that small apartment with someone else. Because when you're by yourself, someplace small seems big. Probably because there are a lot of chores to do, and I don't want to do all of them by myself. But nonetheless, I actually did a little bit of laundry the other day, and I ran out of underwear. I had to do it. And she wasn't here to do it, so I had to do it on my own. And she had to walk me through working the washing machine. Yes. I don't care if it's a damn shame, Roland. Listen, you think that I have any shame about admitting that I don't work? It's a new washing machine. I know how to work the washing machine in our home in Texas. I don't know how to work the washing machine in the apartment we have because I don't know this machine. We've not been properly introduced.
That's just sad, man. Don't tell me she folds your clothes, too.
No, I actually fold my own clothes.
Okay.
Because she makes me.
That's good.
Not because, and she hates folding. She's not very domesticated, so I will help her, which now I've actually found a sort of rhythm. Oh, and also, I cannot forget that I get lectured the entire time. At least I used to. She used to lecture me all the time about folding, because if I didn't fold the towels right, she would get on my case about it. It happens all the time.
Yeah, you gotta fold everything.
You too?
The appropriate etiquette of folding.
Et tu, Brute? Really? Goodness gracious. Okay, so I've learned how to fold them her way. But anyway, she had to break it down to me how to do the washing machine, and I figured it out. It's really easy.
Now, do y'all use pods or do y'all use liquid?
We use liquid because everything with her has got to be organic from the Amazon, made by maidens who are 38 to 39 years old. That everything with her has got to be purest of the purest pure from Scandinavian Alps. I don't know where this stuff comes from, but every time I read it, it's got like 4 lines in it. It's like soap. And it's like, what's it made from? Bark. It's weird. It's like, I don't know. When I said to her, I was like, how much of these detergent? Now, mind you,
Cap full?
Oh, my goodness. Half a cap full.
Half a cap.
Yeah. I'm like, should I use more? She goes, no, this is very strong and powerful stuff. I'm like, should I be wearing hazmat gloves? What are you talking about? This is dangerous. So, yeah, she's very particular about her. I don't ask questions. This is how, people always say, it's like, how is Reese so patient in life? I don't ask questions. My wife says, she sent me a whole bunch of texts about some billing stuff. She goes, hey, I'm going to do this and I'm going to put this on the credit card. And, like, she's keeping me informed. Do you know how I answer everything she sends me?
Okay.
That's right. I don't ask a question. I don't ask why. I don't say, is there a reason for this? In fact, I almost did it today when she said, so I'm going to put this bill and it's all going to be on one card. Is that okay? And I just looked at her. I just went, and my instinct was to go, well, do you mean that you need this and that? And I just looked at her and I said, she only wants me to say okay. So I pushed okay, and it went, and no response. And I went, I feel better. I don't try to think about it. She doesn't want me to think. She just wants me to say, I've told you, agree.
Yeah.
And this is how I'm stress-free.
Yeah, I got to learn that.
Yeah, I knew that was you from the get-go. I knew that was you from the get-go, that you were a feisty person, and you will push back in a heartbeat if it doesn't make sense. I get it. After a while, you'll let it go. Stefan, how are you doing, Stefan? Welcome to the program. A lot of people don't watch me on Stitch, or Twitch, whatever it is called. So when people do show up, thank you so much. There are a few people who do. So thank you for showing up, Stefan. I hope you enjoyed the show. I got plenty of stuff to get into. First, I need to give a shout out to two individuals I met last night at Grassroots East, all the way in Norwich, which you all knew I was driving out to. I want to give one quick shout out to Mike Cerulli of WTNH, who kindly found a way to tell me, no, we don't want to hang out with you. They said, because we are 10 minutes away from Mohegan Sun. And I walked out and I said, hey, what are you guys getting into? He says, we're going to head out to the casino. I was like, hey, you mind if I tag along? And he never answered me. And he waited 5 minutes and he was like, hey, nice meeting you. And I went, oh, wow, what a way to blow me off. But I want to give him props for doing it with style. He was like, thanks, but no thanks. There's no way I'm hanging out with you. What are you, like, 90? Cerulli's a younger kid. So, yeah, he probably wouldn't have had fun with me. I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I don't gamble. I'm like, I'm the worst companion in a situation like that. And last but not least, I want to give a shout-out to a guy who a lot of people thought he and I were rivals in some way. And I don't know where that came from, because I don't have a rivalry with anyone. I mean, unless they want one, but I have no rivalry with anyone. I always kind of believe that we're all on the same team, especially if we're in the same medium. So I want to give a shout out to a guy who really, really looks good in what can only be described as a mob boss's suit, Mr. Lee Elsey, who I met last night. And he cleans up nice. He did look like a mob boss, I'm not going to lie, but he cleans up nice. And you know what? He was... this guy, I can't wait till I get to hang out with him again. He almost, like, there's a certain type of guy I like hanging out with. Craig in the Car knows that. Adam 12 knows that. There's certain people. Ruddy knows that. There's some guys who they're men that I can say, hey, man, let's go out. Like, I don't drink. But if I were, this is the guy I go and hang out, watch a game, drink a couple of beers and some wings, and we would shoot the crap to each other, like we would rag on each other and we'd be the best of pals. Lee Elsey, again, not a competitor. Well, he's a competitor in a sense. I mean, because we're in radio and we're two different companies, but he's a good guy and we're on the same team. He and I see the playing field differently, as most people do. We're not supposed to be carbon copies of each other, but he's a good dude, and I'm really, really happy I got a chance to meet him. And I got to talk to him briefly last night because, people don't understand this about me. It's like people in the radio business who are good guys, when I get a scoop, I always want to share it. I'm not like the guy who's screaming, oh, no, don't tell anybody. I want to do it first. No, I want it everybody. I want everybody spreading that story if it's important. And this story is important. We're going to get to it in roughly about, I think we're going to do it in about the 3 o'clock hour. So stand by for that as it relates to the Mimi Torres case. And there's new information that for some odd reason isn't being focused on. And I have not only some new information, I've got photographs I cannot share, but I can describe. And we're going to get to the bottom of this because trust me, when you hear this, you will be outraged. And the governor must be asked the question, will there be an overhaul at DCF? Because it must happen after the new information has come out. Because somebody's trying to pull the wool over my eyes, and I ain't buying it. And when you hear this new information, you're going to be just as outraged. And it ain't just as simple as the stuff I posted on Facebook. For those of you who don't follow me on Facebook or X, let me just tell you what I posted, okay? DCF mistakes a 21-year-old woman for an 11-year-old girl. But that ain't the damn story. It's deeper than that. It's uglier than that. And, of course, we'll talk about Don Lemon. Ho! Ho! Our good friend Don Lemon. Do you guys know that that song by Lumi D? It was really, really popular back in the days. Roland, can you bring up the instrumental to that song for me real quick? By Lumi D. Yeah, the Lumi D song. Can you? I know a lot of you remember that song. I just say if you could find the instrumental to that song, you might remember it. It was a big hit back in the early 2000s. Like 2003, 2004, Lumi D, she's like a bobblehead. She's like a short girl with a big bobblehead. And she had that song, uh-oh, uh-oh. You remember that? There you go. Yeah. Uh-oh. That's right. The Busta Rhymes remix is great. Uh-oh, uh-oh. I want to make a remix of that for Don Lemon. You know, F around and find out. Fafo, 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 Fafo. That's what I want to do. Fafo. That's it. Fafo. That bass is hot. Fafo. All right, you can stop. Anyway, that's what I want for Don Lemon. That's going to be his song. Anyway, we understand there's going to be a new protest this weekend. Everybody's going to gather outside in the cold, the bitter, bitter cold. I'm sure they'll do it in West Hartford over on the corner there where all of the seniors get together, huddle up and go get a cup of coffee at the bagel place that has 17 kinds of cream cheese. I don't know the name of the place, but you know it. It's right across the street where they protest every weekend. So they'll be out there protesting, no kings and whatever they're doing. Hopefully, you know, they'll, excuse me, they'll get some tourists to come by and film them because that's what they are now. They're tourist attractions. You know, you're coming into town. You don't know what to do. Where are we staying? Oh, are we staying at the Hilton? Will it be by the protest? Well, yes, it will. In fact, we'll be taking a tour. Hey, we want to go to the Broadway show, but is the protest happening? Yes, but don't worry, we have an alternate route for you underneath the hotel that'll bring you out on the back where there's no protest. Hey, where can we get aerial footage of the protest? Well, we have an observation deck on the 98th floor. So they're going to be doing a whole bunch of stuff. And I want to commend every one of those fools. Bracing the cold, risking hypothermia, you know, wearing all the thick gear with the masks on, screaming and hollering instead of sitting at home, watching a good movie with family and friends, sipping hot cocoa or apple cider, not vinegar, just apple cider, just staying indoors, maybe watching a movie to commemorate the passing of Catherine O'Hara, huh? 71 years old. She wasn't one of my favorite people. Madeline Kahn was my favorite from that whole tour group. You guys remember the movie Clue? I love that movie. I remember I introduced it to the kids when they were like preteens and early teens. And I was like, you have to watch this movie. They were like, really? One of your old ones? And they loved that movie. By the way, if you've got, you know, like teenagers, maybe even, and they've never seen the movie Clue, watch it. Grab the VCR, dust it off, excuse me, and pop it in. and go watch that movie with the kids. They'll have a great time watching that. So do that this weekend. Don't go out. Whatever you do, don't go outside in the cold. Be careful when you are outside. Of course, we're going to have weather and traffic coming up with Mark Christopher. And just be safe. Look, there comes a point where these protests go on and on and on, and they start like blending into the scenery. And I don't know. I know a lot of you are talking about it and, reporting on it. And I get it. There's another protest. Somebody just sent me a link the other day. Here, Reese, there's another protest. And I'm like, yes, I know. But at this point, it's a publicity stunt. It's like Dennis Rodman in a wedding dress. Sure, the cameras show up, but what does it mean? It never results in anything, right? Unless there's a riot. And then it looks poorly on them, and the American people reject them. And that's what's happening. This constant, protesting out in the streets, like, this is our First Amendment right. But even after a while, people just going, can you keep it down? We're just trying to get to the mall. I understand there's another one. There's another protest that's telling people don't go shopping. Good luck. Are you kidding me? You're trying to tell the consumer epicenter of the world, the American people, to not shop at the end of the month where most shopping gets done? No shopping for what? Food? Do you ever notice that never, ever resonates with the poorest among us, the working poor, where their kids need new shoes or need new clothes or underwear or T-shirts? Do you ever notice that the poorest, the working poor around us just ignore those stupid protests? Where economic shutdown. The people who can afford not to go out shopping don't go out shopping. But then eventually later on in the day when they're bored sitting in the house not buying anything, they need to go buy something. And so they'll reduce it to something like, well, let's support our local business. Let's get our nails done. So when you're out there, find out where the protests are, avoid them, enjoy the weekend. If you can, see a movie or rent one at home and enjoy some hot apple cider, not the vinegar. Apparently that can be used as a weapon. We'll be back. More news, more views. We'll talk about Don Lemon when we return. It's Reese on the Radio right here on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Fan of WTIC? Then do us a favor. Download the free Odyssey app and favorite WTIC.
Hey, we're back. It's Reese on the Radio, NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. I got to tell the folks at the sales department that unfortunately, they're going to have to. If they see me in the building, and I always get here early enough to come and talk to me, and I know they listen to the show, guys. I saw I just got an email and I missed it, and I feel really bad because had I seen it, I would have done what they had asked me, but it was sent and I missed it, and I really, really apologize for that because I hope it didn't hinder anything. But I'll do it today, but it'll probably be after the meeting, so yeah, whatever, we'll do it today. I feel bad for that. I don't like dropping the ball on somebody who really needs me to do something. So anyway, nonetheless, it's there. You can't control it, so you move on. Speaking of not being able to control something, Mr. Don Lemon could have controlled his instincts, but he chose not to. Now, let me start by saying all of you who are out there cheering and applauding the arrest of Don Lemon, let me say this, okay? It's important that I get this out. You deserve it. Enjoy yourselves. Now, let me tell you why. Here's why. Don Lemon knows he's being clowned right now. Now, he's never going to... Now, he's a navel gazer. That he is. But you have to understand the people who navel gaze, they are immediately enamored with their own navel. That's what the term means. Look at me, I'm fascinating. Look how beautiful my navel is. That's the navel. It's not introspective. And he is not looking at himself in any way. He is blaming others. If a leftist were a magician, the only thing he would make disappear is personal responsibility. And that is Don Lemon. And I want to take you real quick on a tour. And it's the fact that Don Lemon has always been arrogant about how much he does not know. And keeps telling everybody, but it's the truth. Look it up. It's the truth. It's a fact. Knowing damn well, and he's challenged often about how much he doesn't know. And this is a guy who's been in journalism for 20 years. And what I find so ironic is this moment recently. Walking around talking to people and explaining to them how much smarter he is than they, even when they have him dead to rights, he still can't cede any ground. You might remember this.
Okay, crossing the border illegally is not a crime?
No, it's not a criminal act. Okay. It's a misdemeanor.
So why are they being sent back and saying that they're breaking the law?
That's the point.
Okay, as somebody that...
We don't know if they're breaking the law because they won't tell. There's no due process. Where's the evidence? That's the whole point. And if they are breaking the law, most people will say, okay, then they need to go if they're criminals. But if they're not, why are they being rounded up and sent out, especially when he promised to deport the criminals?
He doesn't know a thing he's talking about. He is like shooting from the hip, absolutely ignorant. This is a guy they paid millions of dollars to be on CNN, folks. This guy thought he was morally superior than the people he was interviewing when he argued with them, which is why he rarely had opposing ideas on his own program. And that's the reason why he got fired. It was because he was a drain on the revenue of CNN. And here he is out on the street without a producer or a boss to tell him to tone it down or to bring it back. Or maybe, Don, do some damn research and listen to the nonsense that comes out of his mouth. Entering the country illegally is not a crime. Which again begs the question, why would the word illegal be a part of that dynamic?
And now he's not doing that.
Yeah, I don't think we're going...
Misdemeanor is not a crime.
Yeah.
So misdemeanor is not a crime?
It's not a criminal act, no. If you get charged with a misdemeanor, that's not a criminal act.
So why can't charge at all then, if it's not a criminal act?
Because we have different levels of crime. Everything is not the same.
So it is crime.
No,
it's just
we have
level.
different levels of. I shouldn't say crime, but it's not. It's not a crime. You're not breaking the law. I mean, you are breaking the law, but it's not a criminal act.
Okay. Does everybody understand what I'm talking about? And I know there's some people who are saying, well, Don, really? Don doesn't know this? Why doesn't he? He's running out there, but again, remember what he is there to do, right? He is reporting. He's a journalist, he told us. I'm a journalist. I have a First Amendment right to do what I do. I'm a journalist. And the one thing you would expect a journalist to do, or at least to know, is the law, at least to some extent, which probably is the reason why he didn't know he was breaking the law when he did. See, I'm playing this to show you exactly how ignorant and arrogant he is. So he could not have possibly understood that the moment he walked into that church, he was committing a crime. But as you all know, ignorance is no defense of the law. It might be important to note with Don Lemon that he told us he knew nothing about what was happening. He never knew a thing. He just happened upon a group of people entering a church, and he followed.
MAGA administration and the fake news MAGAs are losing their mind over something that's not even true. I had no affiliation to that organization. I didn't even know they were going to this church until we followed them there.
I have no affiliation with that group. Now, when you say no affiliation, that means nothing, nada. You don't even know who they are. You have no friends or cohorts in that group. No affiliation. Not some, a few, a little. No means no. No, nothing. Nada. Goose egg. Zero. No affiliation, he said on his own camera, unprovoked, unsolicited.
They're chronicling protests. Once the protest started in the church, we did an act of journalism.
Once the protest started, an act of journalism happened. Once the protest started, he told us. Don was not truthful. I told you that, and here's the evidence that what he said was a lie. This before the backlash.
They're getting the operation together again. This is an operation that is secret, that they invited folks out. Can't tell you what is going to happen, but you're going to watch it live unfold here on the...
The word that you're looking for is premeditated. Don knew what was going on. But if his appearance right there, the staging event, wasn't enough, the Justice Department also has this bit of audio and video.
On Lemon Show, there are this, for this reason, it may look like MAGA coded, but there's a reason they have so many white people here. I'm just going to be honest. It's because of the operation that they're doing today. It's important to have allies, as they said, white allies here.
Does that sound like somebody who had no affiliation or no known understanding of what was happening? He's explaining, he's editorializing what the people are doing, and he walks away. Tells his cameraman to follow him as he walks away. Why is he walking away from the group and the communications that they're having there? Why is he doing that? Well, the Justice Department has Don Lemon to explain.
So that is what I could say. I turned our camera off of them because they're giving some critical information here. But
how would he know? How would he know what critical information they're giving if Don Lemon wasn't told what they were doing? Don Lemon is what we call in the hood self-indicting. That's what that's called, folks. When we tell on ourselves. Don doing that. And again, talking to you, talking to everyone, his allies, people who follow him, who think, Don, you're doing great work. Don is telling his audience who supports him and supports those protesters exactly what he's a part of. Look at me.
Here we go. Everybody's ready to go. Let's go. Okay.
Now, that would have been enough. But remember, Don Lemon also told you he is not affiliated with these people.
MAGA administration and the fake news MAGAs are losing their mind over something that's not even true. I had no affiliation to that organization.
I have no affiliation to that organization. And again, in true self-indictment form, Don Lemon contradicts his own statement.
Okay. Thank you guys thanks for allowing me to be here. Thank you guys.
Okay.
How are you?
Good.
To see you. We're on. We're not saying what it is, what's going on, but thank you. Tell us why you're doing this.
So
this is Nakima Levy Armstrong. She's on the show on Friday.
Armstrong, civil rights.
That's right. Lakeisha, Lawanda, whatever the hell her name is. Yeah, she's a friend and an affiliate of Don Lemon. She's on the show all the time. Remember what Don Lemon said.
MAGA administration and the fake news MAGAs are losing their mind over something that's not even true. I had no affiliation to that organization.
Self-indicted. Self-indicted. That's how that works. It's simple. It's plain. It's textbook. If I were the Department of Justice, I wouldn't even put on a case. I would just play Don Lemon's own words and then rest my case and then wait for the conviction. What is Don Lemon being charged with? Folks, as if God had written the indictment himself. We'll read it to you. But stand by. Go nowhere. There's much, much more. Right here on Reese on the Radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
Oh, I thought she was saying my show the audio was not on. She was talking about the Don Lemon audio was too low. My apologies for those of you who couldn't read it. By the way, excuse me, still got a little bit of a cough there. Larry says, how is Don Lemon any more arrogant than Sean Hannity, Bill O'Reilly, Greg Gutfeld, or Jesse Waters, etc.? What kind of ridiculous question is that, Larry? The subject is Don Lemon. And again, in typical liberal fashion, you make personal responsibility disappear. Are you now suggesting, like a child, that Don Lemon can be arrogant because Billy did it? Is that what you're suggesting? Are you going to pull the whole Timmy took a cookie too defense? Is that what you're going to say? You're going to say that Don Lemon has permission to be arrogant in your view because everybody else does? Did you miss something? By the way, you also write, your hero Rush never had opposing views presented on his show. 860-522-WTIC, Larry. 860-522-9842. Be the thing. Be the thing. I'd love to have opposing views on here. But like yourself, they're shook. I don't think you have the wherewithal to be here to actually challenge me. That's what I believe. It's not cowardice. I just don't think you're ready. You want to be ready, but you ain't ready. But that number's right there. I'll give you as much time as you need. And I promise you, I will not let it be that much of a bloodletting. I'll be kind. As if things couldn't get more ironic, as I said. Don Lemon's charges, let's go over them. We just learned what they are. Arrested at midnight, charged with conspiracy to deprive others of their rights under the federal civil rights law, specifically 18 U.S. 241 or similar, for conspiring to interfere with constitutional rights. A violation of the FACE Act, the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances. Act 18 U.S.C. 248, which prohibits using force, threats, or physical obstruction to intentionally injure, intimidate, or interfere with someone's exercise of religious freedom. First Amendment rights to practice religion. Prosecutors allege interference by force with others and First Amendment rights during the protest. Don Lemon did that, and you can't dispute it. That a person in a place of worship, to have protesters go in because the person who is leading said congregation works at a federal office, and then you sought to question him and protest his lawful position with the government inside his place of worship. And you thought, and you couldn't wait to film it, you thought that he should pay in the court of public opinion with cameras on him, which you could have done in any public place in the world. When he left the congregation, maybe met him in the parking lot. Or you could have been on the sidewalk outside of their private property. But you chose to go inside. And this isn't about you just happened upon the church and say, hey, what are those people over there? And follow them in? No, sir. You were at the staging. You got information on what was being done. You were aware of it. You followed them to the location in concert of them violating someone's civil rights. You conspired to do so. And you filmed yourself saying you were doing exactly that. So spare me the Jake Tapper post and the John Favreau post, the Obama boys, talking about a magistrate that would not charge him. So they went and found a judge or a grand jury that would. Tell me the part about being an objective journalist. Tell me about the part about the children that you care so much about that were in that church who was scared with all of those rabble-rousers and the people shouting and screaming at people who were parishioners in that church being made to feel like evildoers. Spare me that nonsense. Don Lemon brought this on himself, and he filmed himself doing it. Don't put it on us. Even you, Larry. Even you. But like I said, you guys believe in disappearing people's personal responsibility. You like Don. I get it. You like him a lot. They're going to love him in jail. We'll be back. Time to get some news. Holla, holla, pop your collar. I know I had to get that D, and I don't care. John Silver is here. He's in the WTIC newsroom. We'll be back, and we will tell you the scandal that is rocking the Mimi Torres case, even though they pretend it's not there. It's Reese on the radio.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
All right, we're back. Changing gears here a little bit. So, you know, I have been like a dog with a bone on the Mimi Torres story here on WTIC. And the more and more I learn about this, the more I get outraged because it's the cruelty of which these people put upon this 11-year-old girl and what they did to her. And again, being a kid from an abusive, or a grown man now, but being a kid who was abused physically, being beaten the way I was as a kid, I take a personal issue with this because you keep asking yourself, and I know that if you're a kid, you can't stop asking yourself, not so much whether or not somebody loves you, but why they wish to hurt you so bad. To the point where they are drawing blood or starving you. That is, you talk about kids having a tough way to go just navigating through the world. Imagine that's coming from the people who are supposed to provide for you, who you would think have an instinct to love you, who probably did at some time, but then that love deteriorated just slowly over the years, got worse and worse, that relationship. And then the person is doing cruel things to you to the point that they're tying you with zip ties. You're a child trying to navigate that. And that's why it enrages me. Was my mom that abusive? No. But was she cruel and abusive? Hell yes. Now, people would say, well, what are you talking about, Reese? Did she beat you with switches? A lot of us dealt with that. Yep, she beat me with switches. But I ain't talking about that. I'm talking about grabbing the wood of a couch, an old beat-up couch, and taking a 2x4 from the wooden couch, and beating you with it for an hour and a half because you had to take $1.80 out of a piggy bank because your mom forgot to leave you bus fare for you to take your little brother to the babysitter after she left for work, and then accused you of stealing it and then beat you for it in the basement of my grandmother's house. When my grandmother was there, who never told my mother to stop. As people sat in that house and listened to me screaming for an hour and a half. So when I look at the Mimi case, it is kind of personal. That's why I've been so dogged on this. After that beating by my mom, I actually did get into BCW. This is what ended having me end up in places like group homes. And sure enough, I was brought right back home to then, of course, wait until I'm 15 years old and then kicked out on my rear end. So imagine knowing that the relationship with these so-called child welfare organizations is garbage. And then you hear story after story here in Connecticut, knowing damn well that this organization needs to be completely gutted. But we still keep getting nonsense from the governor telling us, nah, they're doing a lot of great work. The DCF worker that was in charge of Mimi's case is allegedly a 10-year veteran. She took the stand the day before yesterday to talk about her trying to get in touch with Mimi to see if she was okay based upon another DCF-related call.
So initially my hope was that I would see her in person at the home because Carla indicated she was returning by a certain date. I believe the first date she gave me was January 7th of 2025. But then she ended up giving birth to her fifth child at that time. So it was reasonable to understand why I would think she would remain with her aunt for the time being.
So her mother, Mimi's mother, Carla, is telling the DCF worker that I'm about to have a baby, a fifth one, and Mimi is staying with an aunt out of town. By the way, we had reports that it was Georgia, but we thought it was GA. It's actually VA, according to Carla. We'll get into that, too. The DCF worker also tried another attempt to get Mimi on the phone, or at least to see her if she was okay. Now, again, you're getting delay after delay after delay. We'll talk about that in a minute, but this is very important to note. Can't get her the first time. You try again, you get to the third time.
And then the third time, I knew she was actively making arrangements to move back to New Britain, and she had asked the aunt to keep her until she settled into the new place.
And then that didn't work out. And then finally, we do get an opportunity for the DCF agent to get a video conference with Mimi, or so she thought. Mimi allegedly is in Virginia at the time, and that went like this, according to the DCF agent.
Well, did you interview the person you were told was Jacqueline?
Yes.
And did you close out your investigation shortly thereafter?
Yes.
So after all of that, the video call sealed the deal. And the video call was with a young woman, not a young child. Now, I've obtained the name of the young woman. I know the age and the birth date of the young woman. I have the Facebook page of the young woman. I talked to NBC's Len Bestoff. He got a message out to some people who did get an opportunity to see the young lady who was in the courtroom and testified that she indeed was the impersonating Mimi. We hear that people in the courtroom looked at her and said to themselves that this young woman could pass for an 11-year-old child. If you're listening, you're a liar. I've seen the photographs of this young woman. And there's something that's really, really fascinating about these people, especially DCF. Let's start with the obvious. One, it's alleged that the DCF agent is a 10-year veteran who has a history with this family. I would assume they know what Mimi looks like, and you've all seen Mimi's picture. She's probably ingrained into your mind. She's been talked about so often everywhere. But I saw the picture of the so-called impersonator. People are saying to me, I can see where they'd make that that would be confusing. Oh, you're lying. I've seen every picture on the Facebook page. And I've already shown it to a couple of people. The picture that everybody's trying to show me, oh, you obviously didn't see any of the other pictures. Folks, Mimi is not light skin. The imposter is. Mimi has curly hair. The imposter does not. Mimi has never given birth to a child. The imposter has. I've seen the baby pictures. Adorable little thing. If you folks are sitting up here telling me that the only thing that you could associate with is the fact that they both look Hispanic or Latina, that was it. This was the laziest investigation known to man. I've seen these photographs. This girl looks nothing like her, not even remotely like her. Sent a picture to everybody that I know that I could send it to. This does not look like Mimi at all. And this DCF agent dropped the ball big time. Because this, again, being held up to get video conference of this child, to then have it immediately closed thereafter. Oh, hey, Mimi, how you doing? Okay, no problem. Good, you're alive. Closing this case out. If you ask me, that was a rush to close out this case. And a lot of people do not want this young lady, the imposter. They don't want her picture out. They don't want people to know. Why? Because if they saw it, DCF would have a lot of questions to answer. And I'm already telling people, get on it. Because DCF has got a big problem now. And I'm going to fight tooth and nail to get these pictures out. I'm going to fight any way and every way I can. Because the public must know. Now, why should the public know? Several reasons. The person who was the imposter to Mimi knew that they were Mimi's imposter. Why do we know that? We know in the courtroom that the mother, Carla, was coaching the imposter, telling the imposter what and how to answer. That means that the imposter was aiding and abetting in a crime. It doesn't matter whether or not the imposter knew that Mimi was dead, because the person is of age. The imposter was 21 at the time. She was asked to lie about who she was, and we looked up the law. It's a felony. It doesn't matter what the result was. She posed as another individual in the commission of a crime. That's what happened. And there should be charges. You can't just tell someone, hey, I need you to impersonate my 11-year-old daughter to DCF, and you just tell me that that's okay? You have a boyfriend who disposed of the body, and you were trying to get him on murder charges. You were pulling out all the stops. You were throwing every book at this guy, and he had sold you everything that you could possibly know. How he found out the girl was dead, where he saw her dead, the fact that he tried to give her CPR, that she was dead dead before he knew that she was dead. But you were still trying to, and again, everybody's telling me that this girl has to get justice. But for some odd reason, we are picking and choosing who is going to pay. We know that there were several individuals involved. The mother, the aunt, the boyfriend. That's what you're telling us in court. But the person who impersonated her, that would have, again, if that person wasn't there, DCF would have been concerned. The cops would have been involved. The person who aided and abetting in this entire shenanigans is not getting charged. And that's the person that you were trying to keep out of the public eye? Whatever happened to the justice for Mimi? I thought that's what all of this was about. There's only one person dead here. And why is nobody asking for it? Why are there people who were getting their backsides covered? DCF got a video conference with a girl who was indistinguishably different than Mimi. And they dropped the ball. And I'm calling it a cover-up. I'm calling it a cover-up of the wildest proportions. You want to know why? Here's why. I've got 3 examples right here. I've got the fact that the governor of this state doesn't give a damn about kids. Here's why. Campaign promise number 1. Hey, can't abort your kids? Come to Connecticut.
With the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, there are many states across the country outlawing a woman's right to make her own reproductive choices. Not here in Connecticut, not as long as I'm governor. So this may be a time for you to think about taking a look at Connecticut as a place to move your business, a place maybe your employees feel more at home. Perhaps
your employees feel more at home.
You feel more at home.
You, as a business, feel more at home.
Your customers can better identify.
Your customers feel better. No conversation about their families. That's why, because Ned Lamont doesn't give a damn about your kids. Abort them. Come to Connecticut, kill your babies. After the Waterbury incident, I wonder what Ned Lamont had to say about that. Poor kid was locked up for 20 years. DCF was involved. What did Ned have to say about that?
I'd like to talk with the legislature about ways we can stay in better communication, make sure those kids are being well protected, not just in school, but at home school as well. I think that's ongoing. Look, DCF was there. They visited. I'm told the family said DCF is bothering us, and DCF referred it to the Waterbury police. But you're right. Something dropped through the cracks, and this went on for 20 years.
Yeah, something dropped through the cracks, Ned. 3 letters, buddy. 3 letters. And then after the murder of Mimi, Lamont asked about DCF again.
I'm going to tell you, whenever these accusations, we take them very seriously, see what we can learn from them, don't jump to conclusions. DCF does extraordinary work on behalf of some of kids who really need it the most.
They do extraordinary work, he said. How many cases do we have to have? They do extraordinary work, huh? How many kids got to die? I really don't think he cares at all. Let me see if I can pull up this list. Let's see. Here's a couple of them. Let me see. We've got, of course, of course, Jacqueline Mimi Torres. We've got the Waterbury captivity case. We've got the Aiden Moreno case of 2015 in Middletown, right? Yeah, Aiden Moreno was Aiden's father, threw him from a bridge during a supervised visit in 2015. How about this one? Liam Rivera in Danbury, 2-year-old beaten to death by his mother's boyfriend. DCF had prior contact with the family. Marcelo Meadows in East Haven, 10-month-old killed by his father while under DCF supervision. Tony Genovese in 2021 in Plymouth. It was 2021? A 4-year-old girl beaten to death by her mother's boyfriend. Ongoing lawsuit accuses DCF of negligence. I mean, how many times did it have to be? I mean, how many people have to die? How many babies have to die before somebody guts that awful organization? Huh? DCF stands for Don't Care About Families. That's what it stands for. Because I don't know what they're doing. Are they some lobbying group? Because the primary thing they're supposed to do ain't happening, clearly. And if they're too overwhelmed, that says something about the entire damn state. That there are too many kids that have to be under the DCF's watch, that the DCF can't do anything about it, and those kids end up dead. So clearly there's a problem here. And it can't be solved by constantly coming out, talking to the press, running away from them, and saying something as stupid as, oh, they're doing a great job. They care very, very much. Evidence doesn't show that. And the dead bodies don't either. We'll be back.
Listen to WTIC News Talk 1080 on the free Odyssey app. Download and like WTIC today for alerts on special programming.
Hey, we're back. Reese on the radio here. Plenty of news and plenty of views coming up in the program, so make sure you stand by for that. Always remember to go back and check out the show on WTIC.com. You can check out the podcast there. Any section of the show that you may have missed, there's usually a description there that'll break down exactly what we've done. Always remember, New Music Thursdays here on the program. We've got a new song coming up next week that you guys will think it's cute because it's about my Roseanne. Anyway, you'll if you haven't heard it yet. We got a whole bunch of other stuff that we're doing today. In fact, there's a pretty much an outline that just released today by independent journalist Cam Higbee that's on X. And we'll break that down for you as well if you're at work. And this exposes exactly what everyone, including folks like Alex Priddy and Renee Good, were out doing in Minneapolis. As a part of their organizations. So let's get to the phones. Rob in Middletown. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good, Reese. How are you? I think that if we viewed a yearbook of DCF in our state, it would resemble a striking resemblance to the Biden cabinet.
Oh, man. Good. Yeah, I think, in fact... Wow, it's actually hard to decide which one is worse, but yeah, they were probably very identical. It is inept.
I mean, these people are making about $100,000 a year. I mean, if you didn't earn your position, at least do something to justify that kind of earnings.
Rob, well, here's the thing that I don't seem to understand. I think this is probably paramount to any organization that is sort of like in crisis management, because that's what they are dealing with. Right? They're dealing with kids and families who are in crisis. That's why they're called. Be the kid's a constant runaway, he's got truancy, parents are abusive, whatever the case may be. And, they're underserved communities. They're poor, kids can't eat, they're neglected, all of those things. So I even asked this, and I can't remember, I think it was Jeff Gordon who was on the program. I'm almost positive of it. He was on the program. I saw him last night, in fact, in the grassroots seats. I should have stopped him and asked him about the efforts that are being done. They don't even have information about what types of families they are overwhelmed with. In other words, they don't have a list of how many families they see have drug addiction issues, have financial issues, meaning can't feed their kids, live in poor housing, like, rats, roaches, dilapidated buildings, slumlords. These are statistics that they need to know. Why? Because they can then remedy those, because they know that each of these people have individual needs that may sort of stem the tide of the abuse that has them coming into DCF offices. Yeah?
Yeah. And that leaves passive attitude. Maybe this will let the state get sued into bankruptcy, and then something will change.
Agreed. Because this father is seeking $100 million for the murder of his daughter. And yeah, of course he should get it. But you know what? Then there's of course, the state has to fight vigorously for that, because in the end, everybody else has got to pay for it. And I got to be honest, Rob, it isn't fair for the state of Connecticut to pay for DCF's neglect. Not if it's going to continue. What are we going to have? Just another family that's going to sue him for another $100 million? Because we know, and again, we're not putting a plug in the thing that's causing the nightmares.
No, this little girl was safe. She was in Florida with the grandparents.
That's right.
DCF brings her back to these murderous MFers. And
yeah, exactly. They said they handed this girl to the people who would eventually murder her.
And then the scumbag sat there and collected the WIC money after.
Yes. Yes. Again, that's why I say this whole thing. And you see him in the courtroom. I'm watching the prosecution in this case trying. Now, again, he may get off. It's very possible that the boyfriend may get off because of this state of Connecticut versus Miranda, where they couldn't charge the boyfriend because he wasn't a part of the abuse. He was a part of actually covering it up. And you can't charge him with the stuff that he didn't partake in. But my whole deal is when you see that the prosecution is doing everything to make sure that they get him as well as everybody else, they give the illusion that everybody's got to pay, and they have someone who aided and abetting in the cover-up that allowed DCF to sort of close the book on this, and they're not charging her.
Yeah, and the prosecution, more DEI.
Yeah, exactly right. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate the call, man. You have a wonderful weekend, man. You too. Let's go to Everett. He's in East Hartford. And there you go. How are you, Everett?
Good. Had a nice chilly week at work.
Yeah.
This DCF thing, I've had run-ins with them back when I got divorced years ago.
Wow.
And more than once, DCF has been caught, a few DCF employees have been caught abusing children.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It was about 15 years ago. There was a study that came out on some of the children actually being neglected and abused by the DCS workers.
Wow.
And then there was supposed to be an investigation that just kind of fizzled up and
faded into the weeds. Nobody covered it anymore when something else much more attractive got coverage, and then that was just left to its own devices.
Yeah, well, what I saw, back in the day, I worked for a real estate management company in downtown Hartford. It was Section 8 welfare section of town.
Right.
And these people would not go and investigate these children.
Mm-hmm.
When I brought it up, they accused me of, what the mother didn't want to put out to you? And I'm like, no.
What?
Yeah, oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I got accused of only saying something because my needs weren't fulfilled. It had nothing to do with my capacity.
All of it was retribution. You know, it's so weird, right? So someone called me a couple of months ago, but it was before I even got here to Connecticut, but when we just started like the official show, and she called me here during the show and she wanted to talk to me privately. So I talked to her. She gave me some inside baseball over there. And here's the thing that she told me that was the most alarming. It's the product of DCF here in Connecticut is due to, I guess, systemic racism, DEI, whatever the case is, if the parent and the children are of color, that the DCF, I guess, front office is reluctant to separate said parent from the child. They don't want parent and child separations, which, again, is a big deal when they talk about immigration here in the state. So it turns out that it's just bled over to DCF. So they will not get the kids out of the house. Whatever's going on, they want everything. I mean, their mantra, keep the kid in the house.
Yeah, no, this young boy, he was standing in the hallway beating on the door, telling his mom he had to go pee. He's doing the pee-pee dance.
Yeah.
She curses at him, tells him, go to F away. And then he's crying. I freaking took my master key. I unlocked the door. I freaking let the kid back in and said, go ahead.
Wow.
But she was literally telling him to urinate underneath the stairs. I went outside. There was a policeman, like, literally a block, 2 houses down. I went over and I explained to him what was happening. And then he accused me of trying to get her in trouble because of my personal stuff.
Yeah, because she wouldn't put out.
Yeah. I'm like, wait a minute. There's a little 4 or 5-year-old boy. Mom's in there doing crack or whatever with her boyfriend, and she won't even let the boy in the house go to the friggin' bathroom.
It's amazing, dude. It's baffling, amazing, and just, I don't even know what to say. Thank you, Everett, man. I appreciate you always, sir.
Have a good one.
Thank you, man. You too. Well, we'll try. I wish it wouldn't bother me so much. I don't have to, I'm not like an anchor of some Fox News show, right? I try not to get emotional about this, but it's just like, I just sit here and watch it, and it's so crazy. Everett brings up a good point, because I was going to talk about this in the 4 o'clock hour. I guess I can sort of preview it now. It's amazing. Yesterday we talked about Abigail Spanberger in Virginia. And here's a woman who was just recently inaugurated. She beat the Republican challenger, Winsome Sears, an immigrant black woman. And Abigail Spanberger, endorsed by Barack Obama, the same guy in 2024 that said to the brothers, you got to support the black woman. And then literally less than a year later, the guy is endorsing a blonde woman in Virginia. It was the funniest thing you could ever witness. But Abigail Spanberger ran, even gave her inaugural address about affordability, and then didn't wait a week to start imposing new taxes on the state of Virginia. Just the Commonwealth, I should say. That fast. Turn around. Everybody, Fox News covered it this morning on America's Newsroom. I was like, look at them following my lead. It's brilliant. It makes me laugh. I'm sitting there going, what do you got to do? Like, what do you got to do to tell these people that they're all a bunch of worms? But here's the thing that baffles me. Here's the thing. In what Everett just said about this Section 8 housing, folks, the mother does crack, leaves the small child out, locked out of the house. Kid's got to go to the bathroom, just leaves them there. DCF does nothing. There's no oversight. Got a DCF case, keeping the kid in that neglectful home. Abuse, run amok. These people are allowed to run free, do whatever they want. Isn't that the case? There's a story 2 days ago, cover of the New York Post, left to die because Zoran Mamdani doesn't want to take the homeless people off the street because they deserve to be free. Free what? To die in the cold. It's always amazing how these people always get the folks who pay nothing into the till all the freedoms in the world. And you, who bust your hump every day, your freedom is always marginalized. Isn't that a hoot? We'll talk about it. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More news, more views. It's Reese on the radio.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, back to the phones we go. Let's get Ralphie boy. What's going on, big guy?
Reese, how you doing? Just a couple comments. Yesterday, the gentleman with his daughter who was gay.
Yes. I need to address that today, by the way.
Right. Trump has gay people in his administration. He has nothing against gay people. And I guess my question is, where does she get this stuff that they're going to hurt her?
You know what, Ralph? Here's the deal. I have that answer for you coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. You have to stay tuned for it because guess what? I was thinking about that. In fact, one of my big bosses here stopped me in the hallway today about that phone call. Everybody is talking about it. And I just told her, I was watching, remember, I don't know if you listen every day, Ralph. I was talking about this movie on Amazon called The Coddling of the American Mind. And I watched it this morning, and I've got a clip from it that I've got to play today. And it answers exactly your question. Where does she get this from? And this young woman named Mimi from Uganda tells exactly where she did. And I'm hoping that father is listening to the show in the 4 o'clock hour, because I couldn't believe when I heard the woman say it. I went, holy crap, this is his daughter.
Right. The main reason I called, though, Reese, was listening, and those 2 people who were killed in Minneapolis, had they obeyed the law and demonstrated peacefully, they'd be walking the streets today.
Well, it turns out, through Cam Higby's reporting, that was never their intent. They were not there to protest. They were indeed agitators, and I'm going to talk about that coming up as well. I've got their whole manifesto that Cam Higby just exposed, and it literally, these folks admit to the crimes that they're committing in their own manifesto, or I guess the rule book, if you will.
And the guy with the gun. Now, this in South Carolina, we have open carry down here. But you rarely, and I mean rarely, see someone carrying a weapon. But why would anybody, even with a permit, carry a weapon loaded and have 2 extra full clips? That doesn't make sense.
Exactly. And again, remember who your only adversary is in these altercations, and that is ICE. It isn't your fellow citizens, unless, of course, you're at a Black Lives Matter protest, and you got to be careful, because those folks will turn on you in a minute. But, you're right. When you know that your admitted enemy is ICE, and you show up there with a loaded weapon with two magazines, everyone can clearly cite that you believe that your life may be in danger, and you may have to shoot at someone, more than likely an ICE agent, without a doubt.
Right. But you get 10,000 people with a carry permit, and you know how many of those will have 2 spare clips with them?
No, exactly. Look, everybody, this is the thing. After that January video, the one that happened, 11 days before he was killed, Once that video surfaced, the Alex Pretty story was over. And you notice everyone's run away from it now. The story's dead. With all due respect, it's dead.
He was a very violent person.
Yeah, like I said, the video
showed it right there. He was a violent human being.
Remember Anna Navarro saying that this guy was the perfect guy and they killed the wrong guy? Anna Navarro wasn't anywhere to be seen the next day. Why? Because Anna Navarro's statements was so bad that they couldn't even have her on CNN the next day, because someone would bring it up for sure. Hey, I thought you said this guy was perfect.
Well, the other thing, too, with her saying she would marry her daughter, he would marry her daughter and beat the living heck out of her. That's exactly what I said yesterday.
Thank you, buddy. I'll talk to you later.
You have a great day, and stay warm up there.
Thank you, man. I'll do my best. Let's get our first check of weather and traffic with those of you who are traveling or just getting in your cars, ending your day, because Mark Christopher is getting you home, and he is the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
At some particular time, I'm going to understand that William Tong commercial. At some given time. I don't know when it is. WFSB has Little Girl Lost, about the Mimi Torres story. I don't think I'm going to watch it. I don't. There's a point where that kind of stuff becomes disgustingly profitable, when it should be advocacy. You know what I mean? Like, there's a point where people need to be calling for heads to roll. It's like everybody's covering the wrong stuff. This DCF thing, this dropping of that ball, Now, I don't care. Again, my whole deal with that is I don't care how busy they are. I don't care. I don't want to hear a word about they're overrun and outnumbered. Don't care. Don't care. It's a job. Figure it out or close it down. That's all. You got to do one or the other. You can complain or compete, but do your damn job. You got a job, you collect a paycheck, you cash that paycheck, got a job to do. Don't care. Don't care about the other stuff. And I'm just looking at that young lady, and maybe I'm being harsh, but you worked as a veteran for 10 years. You know this family. I'm assuming you've seen these kids. Somebody's on a video conference with you, and you look at her, and you're seeing so many kids you can't tell one or two apart. I mean, the whole objective to see the girl was to make sure she was alive. You mean to tell me that they didn't even get close to a dead ringer? They just brought a Hispanic girl. You went, okay, box checked. Thanks. Have a good day. And everybody thinks we're just supposed to walk past that and act like it didn't happen? Nah, I doubt that. We're going to get to the bottom of this. We have new eyes now. And we'll get to it. Let's get another check of traffic and weather. Mark Christopher is back at it again. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, sir.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back. And, of course, it's right at that moment. It's Friday, so he's a regular here. Why Mike is in the house. What's going on, sir? What have well, anyway, you tell me. What's your call about today? I think I'm prepared for this.
Well, I was listening to your show, and, if this little girl you're talking about had been African-American, I could have kind of understood the passing off the duplicate, the everybody looks alike thing. But there's a lot of appearance diversity among the Latinos, so I don't get that at all.
I know. I'm going to send you this picture privately, and you tell me whether or not. Like, it's one of those things where I know you, because you are so honest about these, sometimes brutally, that you're the kind of guy who would look at this and go, hey, no way in hell. Now, I would make the argument because somebody said to me earlier today, they said that the DCF agent is African-American, is an African-American woman, and maybe she couldn't discern. This is not one of those one-offs.
Wait, hold on. You're telling me an African-American woman who worked for the government didn't do a stellar job?
Yeah.
Knock me over with a feather. Jesus. Anyway, I want to talk about your caller that talked about the guy who said he was from South Carolina, but he's really not from South Carolina.
Well, he lives there. Yeah. What was he asking about?
Well, he said, why would this guy carry a gun and 2 full magazines? Nobody does that. I do that all the goddamn time.
But not at a protest, do you? Like, were you going to be antagonizing ICE officers?
No, that's the difference.
That's what I'm talking about, yes.
Him doing what he did was not ridiculous. President Trump to say that was stupid and callous.
Wait. When you say, wait. Hold on. So I get the context. I didn't hear what Donald Trump said about this. What did he say about
Donald Trump and his administration said, why was this? You can't carry a gun to a protest.
Okay.
Well, you sure as hell can. You can absolutely carry a gun to a protest.
Right.
You can do whatever you want. If I was going to Minneapolis, where all these crazy communists were fighting in the streets, I'd carry a firearm and 2 magazines too.
I agree with you. That's why I said earlier. I said it was Black Lives Matter. I said, yeah, you got to carry one of those because those folks will turn on you.
That's an argument that some Yankees in the Trump administration came up with, and it was stupid, and it bit them in the butt.
Well, hold on. Now, wait. All things considered, though, right? I'm going to take this out of the realm of what anybody can do versus what this guy was doing. Okay. Because now that we have this understanding of what those folks were instructed to do, the gun plays a completely different role with the 2 magazines.
And what I'm saying is what President Trump said antagonized and ticked off people who carry guns because he made it a blanket statement.
Right. Agreed.
You cannot carry a firearm and go put your hands on federal agents.
Right.
That's the argument.
That's correct.
That's what's wrong. But why are you carrying a gun and 2 magazines? Buddy, I carried a gun, 2 magazines, and a backup sometimes.
Yes, but But Mike, if the situation had arisen, and I think that's the way, and I get you're looking at this in a very, very nuanced way, which again, it's fair because I think that when we're breaking all of this down, we cannot be generalizing in this case in trying to describe what Alex Preddy is doing, right? We can't make him the exception to a rule that in essence, like everybody could be at a protest. You would never know in an open carry a protest who does or who doesn't have a weapon there as long as they're behaving civilly, right?
I think you mean concealed carry.
I mean, yeah, concealed carry. I'm sorry. Concealed carry. If you're concealed carry at a protest and you are doing your First Amendment right to protest, no one would know that you have a weapon.
Exactly, and that's my point. The fact that people say, why was he carrying this? It's none of your damn business why I'm carrying what I'm carrying. It's none of your business at all. If I want to go to work like I have and carry 4 pistols to see if I can do it, that's my business.
Well, wait a minute.
Business.
But let's make sure that we're clear. Mike, let's make sure that we're...
Okay, go ahead.
I want to make one thing clear about this. What was the thing, outside of getting into an altercation with ICE officers, what was the one thing that Alex Preddy did that was illegal, even with carrying his firearm?
Well, he didn't have his ID on him.
There you go. And right. Why? So, yes, and that lends itself to another argument altogether.
But I'm talking about the blanket statement that people make about this subject. That is a stupid argument to make.
Agreed.
It's a patently anti-American argument to make. Anyway, nobody talks about what these people are. I've said it repeatedly.
Communists.
These are communists.
Yep.
These are communists. Once you understand these are communists, everything changes. These are not good people. Alex Preddy would have absolutely, had he had power, marched every one of us into a concentration camp and re-educated us and killed us. Every one of us. That's what they do. He's a fiery communist. He's not an ICU nurse who loves veterans. He's a communist who is milking the system. And he got what he deserved. I hope it hurt when he got shot.
I'm reading what their whole manifesto is, their breakdown and their instructions to their people. I'll admit, I'm probably not going to be as harsh as you. I'm not going to quibble with you about your right to say it. If that's the way that you see it, that's the way that you see it. But putting that into context here, when you hear that these folks were talking about, here's from the document, throw ICE off their course, waste their time, and force them to drive away. Here's another one. Escalate at ICE abductions and create potential flashpoints. From those flashpoints, masses of people are directly confronting the armed force of the state. Escalate our resistance to inspire people into taking more militant, organized action, they write. They're
communists.
Yes, of course.
What's the question? Yes, I agree with you. They're communists.
Oh, no. This is in the sense of everybody else who's listening. De-arrest, which is another thing that they put in this document, where they say de-arrest someone, multiple individuals, as a strategic goal during the flashpoints. The de-arrest means help and assist, aid and abet people who are arrested by ICE and help them escape, if not aid them in escaping ICE agents.
Yes. This is what communist Bolsheviks do. This is a Bolshevik. I'm going to go far. I'm going to say I'll say Bolshevik because he's ethically a Bolshevik. There's lots of Bolsheviks here. And if anybody can say any of these stupid liberal bubble-living middle-class idiots who say give communism a chance, I think you need to look at the body count of communism. It's over 100 million people.
Yeah.
You cannot let communism get the slightest foothold in your country. You have to kill them.
Well,
you have to kill communists.
You have to kill communism. Communism.
And you do that by killing enough communists where it's an unpleasant idea. Sir, I'm a Cold Warrior.
I know.
I served in the Air Force during the Cold War. I've seen Red Dawn 50 times. The only good communist is a dead communist.
What?
That's it.
Well, here's the deal, okay? And I get where you're coming from. You're very fired up about this, Mike, all the time. Hear me out. What I'm saying to you is this, and I will look, ignorance is no defense of the law. But there's a part of this where I say over and over again, a lot of these people don't even understand that they're communists. Will you at least see that they don't even know?
Well, I think if you're marching in a parade behind people carrying a banner from the Freedom Road Socialist Organization with hammers and sickles on them, your argument doesn't wash at all.
Okay, no. I'm not making
communists. They just don't understand what communism is.
Okay,
they say the same argument over and over. that it's never been tried.
Okay, six in one hand, half a dozen in another. Listen, 6 in one hand, half a dozen in another. I think we're both kind of saying the same things from two different perspectives. They think that communism can be cool. They don't understand that it's deadly. Fair?
And the only good communist is a dead communist.
And if they understand that, maybe they'll rethink their actions. Yes.
And if they want to get executed and hanged in the public square for being communist, I think we'll stop communism.
Well, at least look. Maybe if we could go back to the McCarthy era, how about that? Just at least that.
Oh, of course, but you can't because Hollywood's full of communists.
Oh no, I know.
Right.
Trust me,
McCarthy
I know.
was right.
I know he's 100% right.
And black people, if you have any black people in your audience, you have to understand the communists have always targeted the proletariat.
That's
it's
right.
The proletariat versus the bourgeoisie.
That's
and
right.
in the Communist Manifesto, released how they're going to change America into communist, they're going to target the poor minorities because they think you're stupid.
That's exactly right.
Let's talk about Democrats and black people real quick. Fannie Willis is bankrupt. She's bankrupt. She's done. There's reports that she's done. She's going to owe a ton of money. She's bankrupt. Everybody the Democrats used as their weapons to go against Trump and have been sacrificed were black.
You know, the Trump curse is real, my friend. The Trump curse is real.
Well, they didn't send Hyman and Shlomo out there to do it. They sent McCleisha and Fannie. So they know who
all right, boss man. I'm so glad. You know, when people hear that White Mike is on, they immediately go, nope, I'll call in the next hour. You guys thought I was the mean one. You folks on the left, you thought I was the bad guy? Huh? Now you're probably going to say, yeah, but the company you keep. Yeah, the company. Listen, you got to understand. I hang out with real people. I don't sit around here and get all offended by them. I tussle with them just as much as you wish you could tussle with me. I tussle with them all the time. Mike's my favorite, though. I will admit that. He's my favorite. He is out there. He gets me sweating. He does. He gets me sweating every time. Average Bro says, this channel is blanking nuts. Well, welcome anyway. You seem to stay here a pretty long time, so I appreciate you hanging out. It's good to see you here. Jim, by the way, I wanted to get this out real quick. Jim P. was listening to the top of the hour news with John Silva, and he had asked in the chat room. He said, Epstein, no names. So what happened to the press conference of the victims who said that they are going to tell all the names? Jim, that's not accurate, but I do have the quote for you and the actual press conference. So since you're watching online, here it is for you. This is what the victims actually said outside of Capitol Hill.
We are not asking for pity. We are here demanding accountability. And I'm demanding justice. Congress must choose. Will you continue to protect predators, or will you finally protect survivors? And also, I would like to announce here today, us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list.
So that part you were right. They did say on Capitol Hill that they were going to be creating their own list. But something that caught my attention and a lot of others was said immediately after. And that was?
We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know who were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details.
So they said they were compiling a list for themselves, not to air out in the public, a list that they can share amongst themselves confidentially, which a lot of reporters found odd, but did not report on it. Because, in essence, they're saying, look, we don't really have to wait for Congress to release the files. We don't have to wait for Donald Trump to. The place was crawling with people who were claiming they were victims. And there they were. And they said, we'll be compiling our own list. And all the girls were excited. Yes. And the list was for themselves. Well, I mean, look, I'm not here to tell people how they're going to get their justice, but how exactly was that going to achieve it? Again, and it's not about being insensitive. I said this from the beginning. People just like, oh, you don't want to talk about it. Yes, dude, I do want to talk about it. But when you talk about it, you have to really deal with the questions that are being asked. Talking about it can't be just the questions you want to know answers to. It's all of the rest of the things. Why was this woman Guthrie? Why was she making claims and then withdrawing them after she was being sued? If indeed she could prove these things. When there was financial risk at stake, I would say, no, I got you dead to rights. Sue me all you want. Sue me into poverty. I don't care. I'm coming with the goods. And we'll hash it out in court. But sure enough, nope. And she was doing this a lot. And people were asking, that's weird. This is weird behavior. But you couldn't report on it. Why? Why is it not part of the conversation? Shouldn't it be allowed to be a part of the conversation? So everyone's making up these rules that they go along. Like what? Like we want to know everything. Keep saying it. We got to find out everything. At the same time going, but don't talk about that. You're being awfully selective about everything. Like, is there a different meaning to that? Because I would assume everything is everything. Finding the truth no matter where it ends up. And then all of a sudden it's like, maybe not everything. Maybe a few things. So, there you go. We'll come back. More news, more views. Let's get another check of weather and traffic. Those of you who are just getting out of the office early, you lucky devils. Mark Christopher will tell you what the roads are like as you get out there on the roads. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
Stay locked in. Reese on the radio is on WTIC. News Talk 1080.
I'm going to do something a little different this time around. Instead of the stupidest thing I've read today, we're doing the stupidest things.
Yes, you do. Stupid as can be. This could very well be the stupidest person on the face of the earth.
This one begins with Florida. A Florida man, because of course it's Florida, who's 51 years old, got busted for what cops are calling a performance of such involving a vacuum cleaner. Apparently he was caught in the act at a car wash, leading to charges of exposure while he was in the car wash with the vacuum cleaner. A young man who could probably take some notes from the young man who sprayed apple cider vinegar on Ilhan Omar from Iowa is facing felony charges after allegedly pelting someone with ketchup packets during an argument, splattering the victim's jacket with the condiment stains. The weapon of choice were those little fast food packets. They were thrown at the individual. A Michigan 47-year-old woman named Crystal copped a plea for disorderly conduct after, let's say, taking a poop at a convenience store's walk-in beer cooler. It was called a hazardous condition, and she blamed it on eating what was a bad burrito. Yes. Imagine being in love with a stripper and deciding that you wanted to buy her some gifts to show your affection. But the only way you could is like this 32-year-old romantic in Pennsylvania who tried to impress this stripper with cards, flowers, and candy he purchased with counterfeit cash. His name was not, no, it's not. Anyway, and this one, my favorite, this is still my favorite one. I have been slapped with plenty of things. I have been slapped with a hand. I have been slapped with a slipper. but I have never been slapped with a pork chop. An 18-year-old Florida teen, yes, a lot of this is in Florida, was arrested for domestic battery after smacking her mom with a pork chop during a fight, leaving meat residue all over her shoulder. I don't know how that made it in the police report, but it did. No serious injuries, you think. Just a messy family dinner gone awry. That's right. Slapped with a pork chop. We did not find out if it was raw or not. But yes, these were some of the stupidest things that I read today. You'd be surprised. They come directly to my email. I do not ask. For some odd reason, some guy found out that I was in news or at least some spam, and they sent them to me ever since I started doing the stupidest thing. And there we are. So that's that. I've got music news coming up in a half an hour, and also a story that I promised earlier. A young man called the show, or an older man called the show, talking about his daughter and her being afraid, and she's out protesting. I want to play some audio from a documentary now I'm watching called the Coddling of the American Mind. But before that, Mark Christopher is getting you home with a lot of accidents, he says. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The NAACP calls him, whoa, I don't think I'm allowed to read this. It's Reese on the radio. Let's just say some people are not fans. On News Talk 1080, WTIC.
Yeah, we're back. Jim, if you are on, you're on your phone. That's why. It's okay. So when you're on ReeseOnTheRadio.com on your phone, it's a little difficult for you to navigate through it. It's really not it's not phone friendly or cell phone friendly. It's best for you to be actually on a computer, a laptop, or PC. So you're going to lose a lot of the quality. But anyway, if you're on your phone and you can't hear any volume, click right at the left of where it says live on the live feed. Just click there. You won't see anything, but just push your finger there. And the volume button is there, but you can't see it unless you're on your laptop. But just push your finger and the volume will come up. And then you'll at least hear all of it. Jim, you were the person I responded to your comment about the Epstein thing. That's what I was talking about there. So that's the problem, and I apologize for that. I'm working on making an app for the website, but I'm not really internet savvy. I'm just not. Before I get into this clip that I want to play you based on a phone call that we had yesterday, let me get Craig on the phone. Craig in the car. What's going on, big guy?
How you been, man? It's been too long.
I know, man. Been way too long. How you been? All right?
Everything's good. Everything's top notch, man.
That is good. What do you got?
So at the risk of going full white Mike, your stupidest things. First of all, if you're going to have an affair with a vacuum, do it with your home vacuum because those public ones are nasty.
Right.
And second of all, you got to give props to the girl with the burrito problem because at least she did it in the coldest place in the building.
That's true. Minimalize the stench, if you will.
The real reason I called is I'm going to just change the subject a little bit. What's your opinion of where we are with the governor's race as of today?
So, it's so interesting you asked that. So last night I go to the Grassroots East event at the Holiday Inn, and both candidates were there. Betsy was not, which I thought was odd because I thought that I would see all three of them. So Ryan Fazio and, of course, Aaron Stewart were there. Both of them gave speeches. And some other, of course, public officials were there as well. I met some people, talked and hobnobbed, if you will. And I'll admit, while I was there, I found out something interesting. One, do you know who people are afraid of? Do you know who they're nervous about?
No.
Betsy.
Yeah.
She turned the entire race around, and it was evident in everyone I spoke to. And the reason why, I'll tell you why. Because there is a divide with Aaron and Ryan in their styles, their political acumen. And I'll put it to you this way. Ryan, the way that they're looking at Ryan is Ryan's only got 5 years in. They're looking at Aaron, and they're saying Aaron's got too much nepotism.
Well, this is my opinion from a 30,000-foot view.
Please.
I like Erin.
Okay.
But I think the only thing she has going for her is that she was the mayor of a mid-sized city.
Correct.
In Connecticut as a Republican.
That is a fair assessment.
But, Dad was there first.
Right.
So I get the nepotism part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan is very articulate, and I think he's sharp as a tack.
Yep.
But you're right. Betsy, over the last 2 to 3 weeks, so Ryan is running circles around Erin as far as being present.
Right, wonky. Very wonky, though.
Betsy's running circles around all of them.
Yes.
I mean, she's on CNN. She's on Newsmax. And you're not going to see Ryan Fazio on CNN anytime soon.
No. And that's, you know what? And again, that is because Betsy is running a baseball bat campaign while everyone else is trying to be strategic. Right? Everyone's following politics as usual. We are talking about Betsy, who's dealt with New York politics, which is, in essence, walk into the room like you own the place. Betsy already gets that.
There was a saying from Ed McMahon that I heard 20 years ago, and he said, walk into a room like you belong there, and everybody will think you do.
That's right. Exactly. So when she's coming in here and everybody is like, there are people who are trying to describe Betsy as a disruptor, but when you watch her videos, it's like, hey, where have you been all my life?
I think her attitude is she's not coming in as an underdog. She's coming in as a front runner.
Exactly. And it shows.
I have a lot of respect for her. Hopefully you can do an event where we can all get to meet her. I didn't know you were going to be in Norwich yesterday because I'm 20 minutes from there. I would have met you there. But,
well, I'll go one step further. Do you know what I was asked last night? Someone winked at me and said, maybe you can have an on-air debate between the candidates. And I went, wouldn't be a bad idea.
Who do you think the first one would be to say no?
None of them. I think they'd all jump in. I think I have a relationship with their teams. I think they'd all be down.
I think that would be a bleep show, but it would be a fun one to watch.
Well, I'll put it to you this way. Here's where I would do it, and I think it would be great. First of all, no commercial interruptions and have the entire event hosted by, like, whoever the sponsor was, they would be the primary sponsor of that segment without the interruptions.
Well, you got the sponsors. You got between rounds. I'm sure they'd be game.
Oh, goodness gracious. I mean, I'm just saying. It's like they would just cover the show for that day, and they would be, it would be the debate brought to you by, and whoever that sponsor is, and there would be no commercial breaks. And in fact, there'd probably be one or two, maybe for the top of the hour and the bottom of the hour.
And you could have Ryan do traffic and Betsy do sports. I love it. I got to run, buddy.
Thank you, man.
Good to talk to you.
Always good. And thank you for that. That's that topic last night when it came up. Somebody's like, hey, somebody's patting me on the back. They were going, it always, possibly you could do a little debate with them on the air. And I looked at him. I went, no, that's not a horrible idea. I'd love to be hugely part of that. Without a doubt. I would bring even some of my counterparts in on that. Hell, bring Brian in. Be myself, Brian, and who else? Who would be a great third? Hell, we just Brian and I. It'd just be the both of us. That would be good. Yeah, why not? I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. Anything could happen. You know what I'm saying? Anything could happen. Let me play this. So yesterday we got a phone call from a gentleman who was asking me about Alex Preddy. And he thought I was being a little hard on Alex Preddy, but I wasn't. I was talking about the people who were saying that Preddy was all of these things that he was not. And this, of course, then led him to talk about his own daughter, who is an activist. And she is out there on the streets, in his word, and he's concerned about her because these confrontations with ICE agents and police officers have become so volatile. And because he hasn't talked to his daughter, he doesn't know where, one, her head is at and whether or not she's going to put herself in danger, as any parent would, as things become more and more volatile in these, in these spaces, especially with the activist class. And I think his concern, if I were to sort of, I don't know, assume here, at the risk of assuming, is that she may be indoctrinated into putting her own body at risk, as some of these politicians and others are telling them to do. So I'm watching this documentary, and I told a lot of you to watch. It is on Amazon Prime. It's only $4.99 to rent, but you should watch it. I've already started watching it, and I've already seen previews of it, and I think this is a great documentary. So I wanted to introduce you to a young woman named Kimmy. And Kimmy is from Uganda, and she moved to the country, to California from Uganda. Went to a school, and she came into the country 2015 and 2016. And at the college that she went to in California, politics was everywhere. And she had already joined the cancel culture. She was adamant about getting rid of Ben Shapiro. And she couldn't believe every day he wasn't getting canceled. Every time she was on Twitter and she was saying, this is offensive and it needs to be banned, Twitter would respond and say, no, it's not offensive. And she couldn't get anything. And then she started hanging out with this group, and she went to her church pastor's home on election night. She describes what happened.
I thought Hillary had it in the bag. I was like, the world's going to be saved. But then I went to my pastor's house to watch the election, and I just remember seeing like all the states turn, and it was like so scary. It was like really, really scary. And then everyone in the house was like celebrating.
The President-elect of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
When Trump got elected, that's actually a really traumatic memory for me. It really freaked me out because I was convinced that I was going to die.
How was that going to happen?
Honestly, I didn't know how I was going to die. It was what CNN was saying. It's what Twitter was saying. So however way it came, through starvation, through lack of opportunities, it was going to come. The night Trump was elected, I could not sleep. I had to stay up and just make sure that the results were wrong, because I was certain that there was like a glitch or like a counting issue. So I stayed up. I kept my eye on Twitter. I kept my eye on the news. And the next day I went to school. The first people I turned to were my professors. I was like, it's wrong, right? Like he didn't win. Like it was they messed up somewhere, right? This one professor was like, no, it's done. Like he's the president. And I just remember beginning a new reality where the world was that much more dangerous. I could hardly sleep. I couldn't eat. Anxiety attacks, trembling, tremors, nervous breakdowns, sleepless nights, insomnia.
It's wild, right? I know all of you who are listening to that, or if you're watching it online right now, I know you're saying to yourself, what is that? Such crazy. But the part when she says that, but CNN says I'm going to die. Twitter says I'm going to die if this guy becomes president. She's in college. People are forgetting. She's a kid. She's a kid, and these people are to be trusted. Social media is the truth. CNN is the truth. Even you hear the director even asked her, like, how are you going to die? She was like, I don't know. I had no idea how I was going to die, but I know I was told that I am. And that's what this guy's daughter is telling him. And as I said yesterday, like, everybody here who's listening to that, even people on the left who are listening to that right now, are just going, damn. But this is an opportunity for you to think about that, especially people on the left. Okay? Think about that. You know that there are some kids out there who think like she does, or who thought as she did. You know they're out there. You got to ask yourself, when have you ever told them, hey, it's hot out here, but ain't that hot? Like, we don't like him, but you can't be like losing sleep. Like, I know you need them to be warriors, so the more that they're afraid, right, the more that they're riled up. But I'm telling you, this documentary is about to go deep, because all of the kids that they talk to you've got to watch these kids talk about what their mental state becomes. I'm surprised that none of these kids try to take their own lives. I'm surprised. And I don't know whether or not that's going to be the case, but I got to watch the rest of it tonight. But that right there, that piece I just showed you, I had to stop watching it there because I remembered the call last night, and I wanted to. I copied it. I made sure that I sent it to myself so you can hear it yourself. And you heard that woman sound exactly the way that caller did when he described his daughter, that she was scared that she was going to die. It's not a one-off. It's not a one-off. But you can't just immediately you can't write it off. You can't just sit up there and go, the kids are crazy. No. Those kids are in danger. You got to understand that. Those kids are in real danger. So, go check it out. It's your homework for this weekend. Let's get another check of traffic and weather. Mark Christopher, he's got traffic out there. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center.
The hour that packs a punch. It's Reese on the radio on WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right, let's do the thing. News. I entertain myself. What prosecutors are describing as the first criminal case of its kind in the United States. Roland, you're going to love this story. A North Carolina musician by the name of Michael Smith has been charged with orchestrating a sophisticated stream fraud scheme involving artificial intelligence and automated bots. According to the U.S. Department of Justice and federal authorities in the Southern District of New York, Smith allegedly used AI tools to generate hundreds of thousands of songs. He then uploaded the tracks to major streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music. To inflate the play counts artificially, he reportedly created and controlled thousands of bots accounts, up to 10,000, according to some reports, that streamed the songs billions of times over several years. This scheme went on from 2017 to 2024. How much money do you think this guy generated in doing this? Again, 10,000 bot accounts to stream these songs billions of times. How much money do you think that he ended up fleecing in this scheme?
I'm going to say $53 million.
Way too high.
Oh, way too high? Okay, yeah. So $10 million.
Look at that guy. Right on the numbers. He made $10 million in doing it.
That's not bad.
Yeah. He's 52 years old from Cornelius, California. He's got fraud charges, including wire fraud conspiracy, and money laundering conspiracy. Following his arrest in September of 2024, the maximum sentence, 20 years for doing it.
Yeah, he's not going to get 20 years, though.
Nah, of course not.
I think he'll get 3 to 5.
You think 3 to 5?
3 to 5.
It's a white-collar crime,
3
but
to
it's
5.
wire fraud. I mean, it's still
3 to 5.
Yeah. That's a hell of, I mean, you got to go. You know what it is? I'm going to say in a weird way, because I don't like, first of all, I hate theft, but I'm going to say industrious, just because it is. It is. I mean, this is inventive. No?
You don't get there. You don't get there until he probably got a little too
greedy.
A little too greedy. 7 years is a long time to get away with something.
Whoo, buddy. I'm just saying, look, I mean, he's clocking a little more than 1.2 million
I think
year.
the feds had him at 4 years, and they let the other 3 years just go to so he could build up enough money so they could say, I got you now.
If you had a scheme like this and you could figure it out, you'd stop at a certain amount, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Stop at 3.
I'd probably stop at $1 million, to be honest.
Yeah, you know what? You're like me. I'd have done that too. Mark Christopher, he's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Mark, if you were running a scheme like that, would you wait until you got like 5 years and $10 million, or you just quit early?
I'd wait till I get till up to about $5 million.
Damn, $5 million?
Yeah, because then you get thrown in the bank at a conservative investment, 5%.
Yes. Sure, why not?
You make about $250,000 a year.
Yeah.
Just off the interest.
5 years would be exactly where the feds would start looking into it.
Well, that's how dumb I am. If I could have stopped 3 months earlier, I would have been all right. But anyways, it's amazing how these people, how clever these criminals are.
Isn't it? It's elaborate, though.
They're so clever. Why don't they put it to use with something legal? They would probably be doing just
Applaud
as well.
that, man.
Yeah, but you're not going to make the money that you're making, that quick, fast, $1 million money. You're not going to make that.
That's why the drug dealers are the drug dealers, my friend.
Yeah. And there's no tax consequences either, probably. So that's a huge part of it, too.
It's Reese on the radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
All right, we're back. We're sitting up here, Roland and I are going back and forth, and I got the screen up and all night. Hey, there's my sweetie, picking her up from the airport tomorrow. Roseanne on the radio, ladies and gentlemen. How are you, my dear?
I'm good. How are you? How's everybody doing? I miss y'all.
I know that you miss them, and they miss you, and they had to deal with me, and, so that whole bit. We had a wonderful week this week, to be honest with you. We had so many stories and so many things going on. So I can't wait till you get back. So I can finally relax and stop making my own food, because you know how
I know. I'm washing your own chonies and everything.
Will you please not call them that in public? Don't call them that in public. People are going to ask what that means. Please don't look it up. Is there a cute little word for my underwear? I don't like it when you say that.
It's Spanish.
Yes.
All Latinos call them your chonies.
Yes, please stop. Don't stop calling them that. Anyway, you ready to come home?
I am. I'm ready to come home. It's been great being here in Virginia. The snow is beautiful, but unfortunately we got freezing rain on top of it. When the sun goes down and there's nothing but moonlight, the snow is glistening. It looks like ice. And, it looks like glass. It's just, and it's chaos trying to walk. It's a mess. I'm ready to go back somewhere where they can deal with this sort of weather.
Well, I can't wait to have you home. And so it's going to be cold this weekend, so we're just going to, sit in the house and watch movies. We're not going anywhere. Okay?
Yeah,
so
I'm fine with that.
All right, no problem. And now I might even cook something.
Don't tease me. Don't tease me.
It's okay. I'm just saying I might.
Kovala something?
Yeah, I'll I'm sure I can make something.
Oven. Cook food.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm going to finish the show. I'm going to get out of here, but I just wanted you to call to tell everybody, because usually you're here on Friday, so I wanted everybody to at least get a, kind of hear your voice and make sure you're doing okay, because they all missed you. I went to the event yesterday, the Grassroots East, with Aaron Stewart and Ryan Fazio and a whole bunch of elected officials, and as I'm walking by and people are recognizing me, everybody's like, hey, did you get some food? I know Roseanne's not home. And so many people, of course, elected officials know you, and it's like, yeah, man, good, have some steak, man, have some steak. I know you're starving with Roseanne in Virginia, so I'm happy that they're listening.
They fed you.
What's that?
I'm glad they fed you. They show they care about their constituency.
Yeah, I was still hungry afterwards. I still had to go get a burger from Mohegan Sun.
Yeah, where they wouldn't let you hang out with them. You just sit at the table by yourself.
No, they bought me a ticket. Fazio's people bought me a ticket, and I didn't want to accept it, so I didn't sit with them. I stood someplace else. I'm like, nope, no offers, none of that stuff. So they wanted me to. Everybody wanted me to come down there. Every elected official was down there. It was just like, hey, Reese, man, all right, how you doing? And I was like,
Have they ever heard the show? Like, have they heard me say what you say about? Like, do they even what are they doing?
Oh, I think they get the idea that I don't, that I don't want to be pals or friends with any of them, and I didn't play that at all. Especially the people, like some of them was just like, "Oh, who are you?" And I'm just like, "You don't know who I am?" And they're like, "No," and I'm like, "Reese on the radio, the most important show for you to be listening to." And they were like, "I couldn't believe that guy." And I was like, "Who is that guy?" It was like, "Oh, that's Reese on the radio. You better listen to him." I'm like, "Okay."
What was that guy Lowest who called you the loser? Is that Reese guy?
Oh, yeah. That's Lesser. He wasn't there. He's a Democrat.
Loser,
he wasn't
Lesser.
there. Yeah,
Whatever.
He wasn't Loser Lesser. No, he wasn't there. So Thank you so much. I appreciate you calling in. You know I love you, and I can't wait to come and pick you up tomorrow afternoon. I will be cleaning the house. It's a mess. I will tell you that. I cleaned nothing. I let just everything sit everywhere.
I appreciate the honesty. That's okay. My suitcase will sit in the living room for 3 or 4 weeks.
I'm just telling you that the place looks like a bachelor pad.
Disgusting.
Absolutely. Ew. That's all. But it'll be clean when you get home.
Good. Get it clean before I get there. I love you. I will see you guys soon. Roland, hey, love you guys.
Love you too. I love you too, honey. I will see you when you get home.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Let's get to the phone since we're getting out of here. Let's go to Rob, who's in New Britain. Hello, Rob. How are you?
Hello, Reese.
What's
the
up?
Rhythm, the rebel. I agree with everything you're saying about what's going on with Mimi and, oh, God, and these protesters that are being paid, but it's disgusting.
Hey, we just got to get through it, man. Like I said, we can't control all of them, but just be careful out there, you know?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and love the new music.
Thank you. I thank you. Make sure you go to Reese on the Radio on YouTube so you can find it and share it with your friends.
And check out my nephew, Eli and RJ. They have a band. They are on YouTube. They called Always Grounded. They kind of sound like Weezer.
Well, okay, now I like Weezer.
Yeah, me too.
I love Weezer.
Punk.
Okay.
And my nephew Eli is legally blind like me. He's the one in the glasses. And the other one is RJ, and he's a professional wrestler as well as a singer.
Now, hold on. Do they perform locally?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Webster Theater, Underground, Bleachers.
Okay, I have to find out where they perform. But you know how, I got a thing about blind musicians. What instrument does he play?
Guitar.
Okay, I've got no problem with that then. If he plays piano, once they play piano, I'm done.
It's funny because I gave him a guitar 5 years ago.
Uh-huh.
He played it till his fingers bled.
Oh, wow.
Now him and his brother got a band.
Okay, well, tell him to calm down, obviously.
I know. They're not bleeding anymore.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, big guy. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful weekend. You got it. Dave's in Brantford. How are you, Dave?
Yeah, how are you, Reese?
What's up, man?
With all the politics, I have a little bit of a science nerdy subject.
I always love it when you call with that.
And I don't really want to do a mic drop moment. It's not that profound. But you know how when we buy a car now, even a hybrid or the all-electric, they're lithium-ion.
Okay.
And the snow blowers, I'd say half the ones they sell now are battery-powered.
That's right.
Lithium-ion. Lawnmowers, lithium-ion. Look at the new stuff that's in all the big box stores.
Really?
Lithium-ion. You can't find a plug-in anything, not even a hedge clipper. They're all battery-powered.
I did not know that.
Now, here's the mic drop moment. Our highest technological achievement is our submarines, probably way beyond the space rockets that got to the moon.
Of course.
What kind of batteries do you think we have in our submarines in case the main reactor goes offline?
I would assume it is.
I'll answer that question. It took me a couple of days of research to find this out. We use valve-regulated lead acid. We use the maintenance-free, old-fashioned style car ignition battery.
Really?
You know why we do? Because if those lithium-ion, and the guy who texted me, his answer was lithium-ion is not used for obvious reasons. You know what? You can't risk those lithium-ion fires that all of the electric cars are known for.
Because they burn for days.
Because they burn for days. We can't stand for that. I think, you know how we say rules for thee, but not for me?
Yep.
So our most important technology that, our safety depends on, down in that submarine, when we need, it's called AIP, Air Independent Propulsion.
Mm-hmm.
So if the reactor goes offline, you need some electricity to get the boat back up to the surface.
That's right.
And pump out water and circulate cooling water in the reactor. We use the old-fashioned lead-acid batteries. They're called valve-regulated because they don't have the little screw caps where you add a little water like we all did in the old days.
Mm-hmm.
They're maintenance-free, but they're old-style lead-acid. I thought that was pretty darn interesting, and I thought it was a trade secret. It actually took me a couple of days.
It's actually very public information. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks for letting me on. Bye.
You got it, sir. Jim is in Waterbury. How are we doing today, sir?
Oh, hey, good. Hey, the dumbest thing I heard today
The NFL has hired a man named Darman for the next year's Super Bowl. He's going to be their chief kindness officer.
No kidding.
Now, this you can look him up. He's had numerous fraud charges in the past. The FBI was after him.
Wait. Hold on. Wait. What's his name? What is his name?
Okay, Dar, D-H-A-R-M-A-N-N, Darman. He's a podcaster.
Okay, and he has been hired as the NFL's chief what?
Chief kindness officer for the next Super Bowl.
What is the purpose? What is the purpose of this?
It's just they're so going so woke. I may stop watching football again. I did before. Yeah. Oh, and then my daughter came up and my granddaughter cleaning my driveway and stuff. And I says, have you heard of Reese on the radio? He says, you know he's black. I says, yeah, he's black. He's great. She says, I love that guy.
Oh, thank you. Well, please.
And I turned another friend. She's a church lady of ours, Auntie, and she likes you too.
Thank you. Tell them all I said thank you so much for listening and thanks for supporting the show, okay?
You make so much sense. You are the Solomon of our age.
Oh, thank you so much for that.
Have a blessed weekend.
Thank you, man. You too. Thank you so much. They say so many nice things. I don't even know how to take it. I have to work on that. I got to work on that. Last but not least, let's go to Bill in Granby. How are you, sir?
Good, Reese. How are you? Great show as always.
Thank you.
Just to wrap up Friday, maybe the NFL's new chief kindness officer, maybe his first act when he gets in power can be to put Bill Belichick in the Hall of Fame.
Why not? What? Talk about the most... listen to me. I know people cannot stand Bill Belichick, but for crying out loud, how do you not let the guy go first ballot?
Right. Are they gonna deny Gronk and Brady next for the same reason?
I'll tell you exactly what it is. You know what they're going to do? They're going to Pete Rose him for a couple of years. That's what's going to happen.
That's crazy. The NFL without Bill Belichick in the Hall of Fame is just crazy. But
it's criminal.
I actually called to talk about a few of the other activities that happened this week with Trump seizing the ballots in Atlanta, so that now he's got evidence. He's got the evidence that he can probably prove that the Georgia election was stolen. That was a big deal. And then we've got the arrest of Don Lemon for storming the church. That's interesting that they're going to try and hold him accountable. And I think lastly was Trump's $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS.
That's correct.
For leaking his tax returns.
And I think that was that the leak to Rachel Maddow?
I'm not sure who it was leaked to, but he's got to have the receipts now that he's president. He must have all the emails.
Oh, I know he's got, listen to me, I know he's got all the receipts. But you know what? With all of the policy that's going on and Donald Trump's doing this with the Trump accounts and, Venezuela and dealing with, illegal immigration, you know what? It is nice to know that the administration throws in a little bit of red meat and chum to the rest of us in every one of those things you just mentioned. Because let's be honest, we care about the policy stuff, but the Don Lemon, the lawsuit of the IRS, and of course, getting those ballots in Georgia in DeKalb County, a lot of that stuff is the stuff it's the real red meat we really care about.
Yum, yum, yum.
Absolutely correct. Thank you, boss man. You have a wonderful weekend, okay?
All right, you too.
All right. Yeah, man, I'm not going to lie. Somebody in the chat room said to me, they said that Donald Trump getting those ballots in California, he's just going to doctor the information and lie about what they found. And I said, and your evidence of this is what? Well, liars lie, he says. So I said to him, is this what you think evidence is? That's what you think it is? How do you know what their intentions are? I would prefer if you just say you think these things because you don't like them. And don't waste my time with all of that I know what they're going to do nonsense. You ain't Kreskin, homie. Just say I don't like them and you think that you're going to find out something that's going to make you mad and upset you. And people are going to get arrested. And the rest of us say, yay. Put your tears in this cup. I'd like to drink them. Mark Christopher's getting you home. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
The Odyssey app lets you jump back to the moments you missed from WTIC News Talk 1080. Download the free Odyssey app, search WTIC News Talk 1080, and tap earlier today to get started.
All right, we are about to get up out of here, so stand by for that. I'm going to read a little bit more on these things that were revealed in this, I guess, this so-called document of the people that are in Minnesota. We just got word that Tim Walz is being called into Congress to testify, so that may happen next week, I believe. At least that. Hold on, let me check. I just had the story in front of me, so let me make sure that's what it says. Yes, Comer confirms Walz and the Minnesota AG will testify to Congress in March. So that's about a month away. I don't know if anyone will still care about that, about all of what's going on in Minnesota then, but we'll see. Maybe time will go by real fast. Also, this document that was leaked by the protesters, I talked about it a little bit with White Mike. I'll talk about that as well. In the chat room, Average Joe says, were any of you guys on when that caller wished pain on the Minnesota victim? What a psycho. White, whatever his name is, what a psycho. Average, with all due respect, sir. Average bro. I don't, like, okay. This is, I'm clearly, a writer's embellishment here on what, but that's what that sounds like to me. And you may be late to the show, and I know you're watching the show, so you can see me when I say this. Okay, I don't know what you look like. I don't know where you're from. I don't know what your background is, nor do I care. But I just want you to get from me. When you start doing that, when you're like hailing a cop, like, did you guys see that? Like looking for other people to be outraged? That's not what guys do. It's just, that's not a guy thing. Like ever. Like men do not do that, no matter what age they are. They just, did you guys see that? Like I couldn't imagine me running, even in a car accident, me running up on Craig. He'd be like, yo, Craig, did you see that? Like, what are you doing? Nothing about that is average. An average guy would have heard what White Mike said and just said, and laughed sheepishly and said, all right, got to take it there. Nobody's affected by that. What he feels, what his personal feelings are about that guy, he's allowed to have. What are you shocked about? Like, you can't believe. Did you miss the whole Charlie Kirk thing, buddy? Like, were you not here for that? Were you on vacay? Huh? Drinking wine spritzers on a cruise? Like, where were you, dude? Did you hear him? What a psycho. I got to take a break. Hopefully. Just have a great weekend. Mark Christopher, he's getting you home, and there's plenty of traffic and plenty of cold out there in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Hey, Mark. What's up, everybody? You know who it is.
You know who it is. You know who it is.
It's Reese on the radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
You could put, we'll see if we can take Jim before we get up out of here in a second. And if you want to, before we get out of here for the weekend, 860-522-WTIC, 860-522-9842. Craig says, Reese, your tee looks PG-13 at least. Can I get one? Unfortunately, no. There is this T-shirt I got in Texas, and it is the illustration of an actual photograph of Lindsay Lohan drunk falling to the ground. And it was a part of this a hamburger place called Pounders. They had these T-shirts sitting in their, I guess, showroom, and we saw it. And then they didn't have my size, so we ordered it, and I got it. And I rarely wear it because I don't wear a lot of white T-shirts on the show. So it is a photo. It's an illustration of a photo at a premiere where Lindsay Lohan was, and she was clearly off her, she was alcoholed out on it. Which, by the way, speaking of alcohol, I want to congratulate the President of the United States, Donald Trump, Robert Kennedy Jr., and I cannot remember Doug Burgum's wife's name. And I should look it up. I think it's Catherine. She and Robert Kennedy Jr. are fronting this initiative for recovery in the country. Burgum's wife is a recovering alcoholic. She's got 20 years sober. And give her props for that. And the president is focusing on recovery, all forms of it, from drugs to alcohol. And this is, of course, we're dealing with, as the president has talked about, dealing with, fentanyl death and overdose death. He is trying to help, because it's one thing just to stop drugs from coming into the country. It is another to wean people off of them. And here it is, we have an administration is doing that. And this is what I said before. Leroy called in a couple of weeks ago talking about this because he had issues with Donald Trump and the blowing up of like coke boats and drug boats and, you ain't going to do nothing. And I thought that was odd coming from somebody who's lived in Hartford all of his life in the 60s, who remembers the war on drugs and remembers the incarceration rates inside the inner city and how that was used for, politicians and, of course, people in the criminal justice system who were using those poor, folks, family members who were on drugs, using drugs, if they were caught with drugs. Those people were kind of being funneled through the criminal justice system so that people could pack their resumes and go on with their political careers. I thought they were political pawns for these people. And here you have a president who is stopping the drugs from plaguing those communities and then, or at least now, trying to get those people off of drugs and has it's no longer just the idea of just say no. Like now the government is active in recovery. So my question is, what say you now? Now we've got a government that isn't using drugs to profit, is actually fighting the drug epidemic and not just incarcerating people, because this is also the president who started the First Step Act that's getting people with nonviolent drug offenses out of prisons when the other administrations were putting them for 20 and 25 years. So again, I'm just asking, how long are you going to be mad, or how long are you going to be protesting the so-called devil in chief? Because I think all of the stuff you guys keep claiming that you want to stop in the United States, you're lying about. I don't think you care about the drug epidemic in the hood. I don't think you care about the crime epidemic in the hood. I don't think you care about the gang violence in the hood. I don't think you care about the lives of black people in the hood. I think when the opportunity comes and people actually do address those folks, they'll address those things, you know what you do? I think you turn around and say, yeah, but. And that's why I can't take you folks seriously. That's why I never do. That's why we do Negro nonsense. That's why, because you know what the deal. Come on, let's be honest. We know what the deal is. You kids always talk about keeping it 100. You guys always keeping it 1%. There's nothing about you that's honest, ever honest. It's quite, to be honest with you, it's sad. In fact, in some cases, it's quite annoying. The reason why, like I said, black liberals, I can't. Because it's like, it's always like, let's just continue to lie. And like, how much who's going to deal with that every day? Who's going to listen to that nonsense every day while you keep, it's not even about changing the goalpost. It's just about lying every day. We care about this. And then when somebody addresses it, it's just like, that's not enough. I'm like, all right, forget about it. You don't want to know my true feelings. To be honest with you, I wouldn't give you anything. I just can't. I would not address it. I couldn't. If it were me, I couldn't do it. After a while, just like, you don't care. I know you don't care. Like, why would I bother? Because all you want to do is complain. That's what it is. That's all it is. Average Joe says, can people just admit that they're wrong? Are you doing that? Well, thank you, Average. You were wrong about whining? Okay. We accept your apology. And thank you for saying, by the way, because you were hating on the show the entire time, but you haven't left, which again says everything that I need to know. Thank you. Thank you. It means the world to me that you found a place in this show. There used to be a time, I say this a lot in my, sort of backstory. I used to watch The View, but I used to hate watch it. Like at 11 o'clock, it was like appointment television. People would call me, like I was talking to somebody on the phone, and 11 o'clock would come and say, I got to go. The View's on. They're like, why do you watch that? I was like, I hate them. I did. I could admit that. I would hate watch The View because they would get me angry. They would get me amped up. I was like, yeah! What are these witches talking about today? Let's go, Whoopi. Say something dumb. Let's go, Joy Behar. Sonny Houston, Houston, the lawyer. Please, come on. Hurry up and say something stupid. Got need to start my day. Ladies, let's go. So, if I am your View, Average Joe, Godspeed. Thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. It's the best feeling in the world. Let's go to Jim in Waterbury. How are you, sir?
Yeah, just a slight change. He'll be at the Super Bowl.
This guy.
Relationship across fans and Super Bowl players.
Wait a minute. He's going to be there to spread kindness all on his own.
Yeah, across the players ahead of the Seahawks clash with Patriots in Santa Clara.
Oh, and you know what? I hope a fight breaks out while he's on the field.
You got to get more testosterone in the management there.
Yeah, man, exactly right. Kindness. These people are funny. If we could get them to just stop beating their wives, we can start there. How about that?
Sport. You're supposed to get hurt.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, man. Let's go to Craig in Newington. Hello, sir.
Hey, how's it going, Reese? You're excellent all the time.
Thank you, sir. What's up?
What do you think about a bipartisan new Department of Common Sense?
Oh, man. That's... You know what? This is going to sound crazy, but I'm going to have to say it would be a good idea, because can I tell you something that used to drive me nuts? You know when Donald Trump started Space Force, I said they're going to mock it. I said, that's the dumbest name ever. In my head, I went, why are they calling it Space Force? And people did. The first time around, they mocked it, but then I went to Texas and we went to Sam Houston. We went to the Sam Houston base, and sure enough, we started seeing a whole bunch of recruits, and they love it. They're like, we're so happy that he started this, this branch of the military. And we're like, and the young people, and they're going, Space Force is the best. So you know what? It would not be a dumb idea. It would be a fantastic idea, because I think at this point, and I think this is what you're going to, it's such an absurd idea because it's so necessary. Is that your point?
That's my point.
It's because why scoff at it? Why scoff at it? We are at a precipice where common sense is needed more than ever.
Exactly.
Yeah. I get
one more thing to look at.
Yes, sir.
Towards the end of the movie, The Graduate, are you familiar with the scene with Norman Fell and Benjamin, and he's trying to get a room in a boarding house?
No, but I do know Norman Fell. I love Norman Fell. This is at The Graduate. This is before the infamous wedding scene.
Correct.
Okay.
He doesn't like agitators, and he more or less tells he doesn't have any agitators that he can stand for. Check it out. It's
okay.
really funny.
Absolutely. There's probably a great clip in that.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful weekend, Craig. Yeah, it's so funny because I've seen The Graduate in spurts. It's one of the only films that, or not one of, several of them. What am I talking about? but it's one of the classics I've never seen in its entirety. It's weird. It just isn't. When I watch Dustin Hoffman films, they are so abstract, like The Marathon Man. I still have no idea why I watched that. Still don't. And what's another one that I saw? A weird one. Oh, Runaway Jury. Is that the one? Yeah, Runaway Jury. That's a weird Dustin Hoffman film. It's a good one. That was back when I was crazy into anything that John Cusack was doing until he started getting political. I was a big John Cusack fan growing up. Joan Cusack, too. Still, like, she's always been quirky, weird to me. Like, quirky, sexy. Awkward. Not like the average attractive woman. But there's something about her, like when she's attractive, like when she's supposed to be kind of like a... You ever see that movie Inside Out? Is it Inside Out? No. There's another movie called... maybe I'm getting the name wrong. Kevin Kline is supposed to get married to Joan Cusack. And he doesn't know that he's gay. In and Out. That's it. Wow, you saw that? You saw that movie? Don't be shy that you saw it. It's okay. It's a good movie. And people keep always, everybody says, what was it, that other movie with Billy Eichner? They said it was the first major motion picture made with gay themes. No, In and Out was the first. And think about the star power. Kevin Kline, Joan Cusack, and Tom Selleck. There's a lot of star power in that movie. And the movie is funny. Like, if people listen, I don't care what you say about gay-themed films. This movie is bar none hilarious from beginning to end. I still love that movie. I tell people, watch that movie. It's one of the weird sort of gay-themed films that anybody can watch and have a good time. It's actually funny, and it's not... Yeah, but it's not... Yeah, it was a horrible name. But it's funny, and Kevin Kline is brilliant in it. Oh, so's Matt Damon. Matt Dillon. Yes, I know. Matt Dillon is in it as well. So there's a lot of star power in that. But Joan Cusack looks incredibly attractive in that movie. What's the other woman's name? She's very funny. She plays his mother. Oh, goodness gracious, I can't remember her name. I couldn't remember her name. Partners was the first. Was it really? I don't even know what movie that was. I have to look that up. I'm talking about the woman who played Kevin Kline's mom. Her name is Debbie Reynolds. Thank you. I couldn't get her name for the life. Debbie Reynolds. Yes. You have the cast there? There's a lot of big names in that movie, right? Give me some of the names. Yeah, Charlie Newmark. Oh, wow. Bill Hogg is in. I love Bill Hogg. What's the name? Yeah, but wait a minute. The guy who's Bill Murray's brother is in that movie, too. And you'll see his last name is Murray, but you don't know it's Bill Murray's brother. A lot of people don't. He was in Groundhog Day. He's the guy who holds up the groundhog. Yep, Jay Leno's in it as well. Because Matt Dillon is on the Tonight Show talking about him outing his drama teacher. Yep. There's a lot of great whoopee. Yeah. Remember, in the beginning of the movie, when Matt Dillon wins the Oscar award, some of the movies that are nominated in Matt Dillon's film, Glenn Close reads them out, and she says, my favorite line in the movie, what's the guy? Steven Seagal in A Snowball in Hell. That's the name of the movie, which in essence is the double entendre. That he would ever win an Oscar would be a snowball in hell. As I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the radio. You have a good night and pleasant tomorrow. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you back here on Monday. Mark Christopher, he's getting you home. He's in the BPS Lawyers Traffic Center. Good night, Mark.
Brian Doyle Murray.
That's his name. Yep. Brian Doyle Murray is the Bill Murray brother that a lot of people don't know.
Yep, that's right.
How long can you stand and look at something so faded and drab?
Where's his voice?
I don't know. How long have we been married?